Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Captain Scott again from the Civil Engineer School at the Air Force Institute of Technology. Another video on Revit. So we're going to continue with working with our little simple building that we have. In this video, I'm going to talk about creating sheets and views, and then I'm also going to talk about doing details, so detailed drawings. It's really easy to do, you know, view specific details instead of trying to do it for the whole project, and I'll get into that. So we've got our building, the views that we create and place them on our sheets to make our construction document set. So we're going to be over here on the left in the project browser. So down here there's a sheets button or a sheets tab. We're going to go to new sheet, and it'll prompt you to select a title block. I haven't selected my title block, or I haven't worked my title block in this project yet, so it doesn't prompt me to load it. So I'll load it now. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But if you are just continuing on with in the series, in the beginning of this series, we talked about creating this title block. So it'll probably be one of the options. But just navigate to wherever you saved it and click OK. And this gives us a title block that we can now work with. So now we have our title block. It automatically created one sheet. So it automatically creates it A101. You can change that just by highlighting it, and you can change it over here on the left in the properties palette. You can change the design by, check by, drawn by, obviously all that kind of stuff. You can change it in the project info. Go back to the first video if you have any questions about that, or you can actually change it straight in the sheet too. So you can make this just A1. It'll obviously change here, and then it will also change over in the palette, the properties palette on the left. So a couple different ways you can do it. Same with this. You can change this to, maybe you want this to say floor plan or something like that. You can change it here, and it will automatically change over here on the left. So a couple different ways you can do it. It's a pretty versatile program. All right, so we've created our sheet now to bring views into our sheet. It's really simple. All you have to do is just click and drag, and it'll drag your sheet in here. So this is the view template that the extent. It basically extends to the outskirts of the furthest thing. So we have our elevation views. So obviously the viewport extends all the way out there, but it doesn't really matter as long as what you want is on the page. That's what it's going to show. Be really aware of where your view elevation view palettes are, because if you set your floor plan right here, it's actually gonna print this, and it's gonna look real funky. So just make sure to move these. Okay, so it automatically brings in a label. So if we kind of deselect everything and we try to select just our label, it might be a little difficult. You can drag that around and can position it wherever you want it. And then again, if you try to select just the label, it'll give you some extent buttons, and you can move the extents, so it makes it look a little nicer. Okay, so this it brings it in at a certain scale. You can change that scale if you want to. So you can change the scale to let me get out of here. You can change I can change my viewport scale to, I don't know, let's do a quarter to a foot. So it should make this bigger. Yeah. So you can move, or I'm sorry, you can resize your views on your sheet just by changing the view scale, and then Revit automatically updates this down here. So there shouldn't be any question about what your view is. All right. One thing about this, about these views and these viewports, this is exactly what you see on your level 1 floor plan. So let's go to the level 1 floor plan. If you have text nodes, or if you have different things on your level 1 floor plan, those will show up in your sheet, in your view. So just be aware of that. So just be aware of that. Okay, so that is creating that's creating sheets and dragging our viewports into onto our sheets. Now let's get to doing detail views. So detail views are drawn again in your model space. Up here um, on the view tab on the top, you can create a number of different views. So you can actually create some views that are kind of cool, some camera views, walkthrough views, 3D. You can do sections. So if I want to see maybe what this wall section looks like, I can drag a wall section on here. You can change the extent. So if I don't want to go all the way to the next wall, if I just want to go here, you can change the extent of it, and it creates a new view basically in my project browser. So this is going to be a section view. So this changes it to section 1. I could rename this to, I don't know, exterior wall section, right? And then to get into it, this is what I see. So this is actually my my exterior wall section, and it's got some information. You can change obviously how everything renders. So you can change it between coarse, medium, and fine. How the wall renders and things like that. You can change your view to be, realistic or consistent colors. Consistent colors is a pretty useful one. And then you can start to and then so you can start to draw some details on here. So if I want to draw some details, well, actually, first before we do that, there's a couple different and then there's another one. So there's your section view. You can do a call out. So this is more of a detail, right? Maybe right in this area, I want to do a detail to really dive down into really what's going on. So this could be just a general, maybe I'm pointing to material that my wall is built out of. Maybe I'll draw some reinforcement in my foundation, something like that. And then this could really dive down deeper into the connection right here. So that's just that's one option. And again, when I build this or when I draw this, it makes a new section right here. So I can open that up, and this is what I just circled. So when I start to draw in this area, I'm going to use detail components. So I'm going to go to the annotate tab. This is different than the components tab right here. So if I go to this component, this is like a component, like a building component or a piece of furniture or something like that. If I go to my annotate tab, this is actually detail components. So this is a little bit different than my other components tab. So this allows me to bring in, if I go to load, I can bring in different kind of detail items. So let me go to my library really quick. Desk. Here we go. So I go to my library, and right here in detail items, there's a number of different things that we might be concerned about, right? So maybe at the top of the wall, I've got a wood header that will brace into my or that will connect into my roof framing. So I can go to wood framing, and this over here on the left, this is where I can see my what it's going to look like. So I can bring in some section cuts. So let me open that up. I want to do a 2 by, maybe I'll do a 2 by 8. You may want a 2 by 10. I'm not sure. Let me just bring I'll bring a 2 by 6 through 2 by 12 in. I'll bring all of it in. So now I can insert one of those into my drawing. Spacebar to rotate it, and I can set one of these things. I don't know, maybe set it like this maybe, and I'll zoom in, move right up there. All right, so now you can see that this might still kind of look a little weird, but you can start to show how your CMU wall is connected up into your roof rafter or your truss. You can also draw some detail lines. So this is just a line in the model space. It doesn't show a whole lot, but you can draw some lines You can stack these. Maybe I want to stack these or something. Maybe I'll do copy, stack 2 of them. So I've got 2 top plates, and then I can bring in a let me see. I can bring in maybe another piece. So I'll bring in a metal J bolt. So go to metals. I'll bring in a, let's see, common work results. I think this is, yeah, metal fasteners. And I'll bring in an anchor bolt. We'll bring in an anchor bolt like this. All right. And then this is pretty big, but I can change my anchor bolt size. Maybe I want to bring in a 3/8 inch. Maybe I'll do a 3/4 anchor bolt. You can change the hook length, obviously, the dimensions. We'll do a 2 inch, and then I'll move this guy straight down. So you can start to play around. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can just kind of start to play around to see how things are happening. So one thing, the reason I drew up here and not down here in this bottom piece is because I wanted to show you that when you create detail markings on a drawing set, this is the only view. So the exterior wall section is the only view that your detail is going to come into play. If I go over to to look at this view, you can see that view is obviously not here. So really the reason I showed you that is because you want to be aware of where you're drawing and what you're drawing, because you drew this right here in this drawing, and then you went over to your wall section. You got to draw it again. So just be aware of what you're doing. So maybe what you would do is not draw this in this view. Maybe you would draw this little piece in this view, just to show, so you don't have to double the work. So the reason I showed you this is because just because you drew your circle around this piece doesn't mean that that these details are going to go into this call out or this section also. These details are only drawn on this view. So you can think of it like this is your paper space. You brought your layout in the paper space, and you're drawing these details on the paper as opposed to in the model. Some other things you can do, you can draw, you can add some more, you can do some more components. You can add, maybe, I don't know how you want to do your connection here, but maybe you've got a connection here. Maybe you've cast a bolt into the concrete footer, or the concrete, the footer wall, and maybe you've done a J-bolt. This probably wouldn't happen in the field, but maybe you do a hook rebar. There's reinforcement in here too, and all that. Maybe you do some hooks down here in this bottom. So yeah, whatever you want to draw, however you want to draw your connections. Maybe there are some hangers. So you can do some hangers on your floor joists. There's a number of different things, but they're all in your annotate and in your component annotation. And just searching around this detail items folder is where you're going to find all of your detail items. Okay. There's a couple other things you can do for when you're creating sheets. You can create schedules. So a really cool thing, or a really powerful thing in computer-aided design is doing schedules. So let me see if I can find where the schedules is at. Create schedules in view. So in your view tab, creating schedules, or you can insert schedules just like this. You can do a schedule quantity, and you can choose your schedules. So in this one, let's do our doors, and we'll bring our doors in. And you can choose the fields. So in your fields, maybe you want to do a, I can't remember what they are. I think family's in there, family type. You may want finish. You've got, let's see what that gives us so far. All right, yeah, so we've got some we've got some exterior doors. We've got a single flush interior door, and then we can see that it talks about the family and type. And if you want to change any of this information, or maybe you want to include some information that you didn't think of when you started this, just scroll down here to others. You can edit the fields. You can actually edit how the fields are sorted. So you can sort, you can filter, you can change the format and appearance. But this is all where that is. You may want your material type. So I think it's, let me see, material type. You probably want the thickness of the door itself. And frame material. I think there's a panel material in here too. Anyway, information about the door are all in these available fields. So clicking OK. The one thing I noticed yesterday when I was kind of playing around with this is there isn't a frame material built into or in these doors by default. So a way to get that in here is we'll go to our level 1 floor plan. Click on these doors, and all the information that you can, all the fields that you could bring into your schedule is going to be over here. So here's your frame type. So if you want to keep a frame type in there, or if you want to describe your frame, here's your frame material. If you want to talk about a finish, and let me see. There's also information about the panel itself. So here's frame. Oh, so frame material, and then the panel finish, or the door finish too. And then there's some more information. So these ones right here, this material and finish, panel material is not, you can't pull it from or pull it into the schedule. I don't know why. It seems to be a glitch in the Revit that we have. But maybe just copy and pasting this into into this right here. Maybe something like that. That way it'll pull into the schedule. So let's update the schedule. Yep. So we've got some information about our material. So that's a way around it. Unfortunately, that's how it has to happen. Okay. That's all I wanted to say. So in this video we talked about doing our views. We talked about creating new sheets and dragging our views into the sheets, and then kind of moving around and making them look good. We also talked about doing details. So we looked at placing wall sections, and then details on or detail markings on our wall sections, and then drawing some of the details. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this video, and hope to see you next time. Thanks.